friends? Daniel Barnes here, D Barnes, Young Barnes, lots of Barnes. Just want to say a major thank you to all you guys. You're awesome, so appreciate you. Finally making another video here, just kind of doing an update over the last week or so. Kind of a major theme was kind of servanthood, or just being able to serve, and that was throughout a couple different situations and different teachings that I got to be a part of, but it was a really awesome week. So this might have been last Thursday, I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, the main theme of the teaching was, what are you holding on to? Like, what is your strength? What are you clinging to? And one of the major themes was to cling to the altar, to cling to where God is, cling to honor, cling to always being hungry to continue to learn more. Don't be content with where I am, but continuing to grow. And one of the things that I really loved about this teaching was to rehearse God's faithfulness, to keep record of when God has come through. Because it's so easy, at least for me, to forget how faithful he's been in the past and look at the future and say, well, God, what about this or what about that? Whereas he's been so faithful, and if he's been faithful then, he'll be faithful now. So this last weekend we had Living in the Power of Now. That was a 7-word series that Bayside's going through. Really the major thing that kind of resonated with me is the dangerous word was tomorrow. Looking at the cost of saying, like, right now, as of today, October 7th, there are 225 days left in Thrive. And you can be like, oh, that's so much, or that, for me, that's so little. And I want to keep that count because this is a short period of time where being willing to learn, being willing to serve on a higher level is incredibly important to me. And Shane actually did this teaching that I remembered from last year, where it's this, at these Brazilian steakhouses, they'll literally, you have a green card and a red card. When you have the green card, they'll just keep giving you meat until you flip it over to red. And in a lot of ways, Thrive, there's so many learning opportunities and so many teachings and so many things to do that you're mentally just like having a food coma, but a brain I don't know, something like that, a learning coma, if you will. And so that's something that I'm really just trying to embrace, with having that time frame of, it's only another 225 days, it's only another 7 months, whatever that is exactly. Also had the New Testament class. Really, staff meeting was probably one of the coolest things. One of the things that Ray was talking about is how humans have this infinite ability to go downhill, that it's much easier to start being a little bit more unhealthy and stop going to the gym. Like, no one's gonna wake up and have lost 30 pounds. Like, that's not how it works. So kind of the things that he had focused on, again, it's to keep growing, to continue to learn, to care, to stay focused, to find what you're passionate about and pursue it, and to also stay humble. Again, that just learning. Kurt, this last Thursday, he was talking about Mark, which I actually read half of Mark, and I'm probably going to read the rest of it pretty soon here. I've got to post that time-lapse. I've got an awesome time-lapse I'll probably post on my Instagram and Facebook at some point. You should check that out. So Mark, the big idea with Mark was, who do you serve, or are you a servant? That Jesus took this place of being on his knees, of being completely humbled, and yet his mission was to submit, not to be a celebrity. That was kind of something that I wrote down. Jesus was a celebrity in his time. Everyone from everywhere wanted to be where Jesus was, and yet, even though he was this mega, big shot, he still did exactly what the Lord wanted him to do. And kind of the main thing was to seek servanthood, not attention. And so I'm still working on actually applying that, obviously. But that was a really cool idea, and something that I'm definitely putting into practice. And we've got Gil Stiglitz's class. He's got an Old Testament class. Gosh, his class, is incredible. He was talking about the Jordan River and how it was a barrier, and going into the Promised Land, the Baal, which was the god of the people that were in, Joshua, where the walls fall down. I can't remember the name of the city. I'll remember it as soon as I'm done. Jericho. There it is. Jericho. So the Jordan River was a barrier, and Baal was theoretically the god of the water. So it was at flood stage. They were like, oh, sick, we're good. The people inside. Whereas God actually ended up holding that back. But what it took was the priests who went first. It took full commitment. It wasn't like the beach where you can just like put a foot in a little bit. They literally had to like go from like 0 to 100, like all the way, 100% commitment with no like, well, hope this works. And they stepped in. They were over their heads. And one of the things that I wrote down was commitment first, all in, then God divides. And I feel like, at least for me, I have a hard time with that sometimes, of really committing all the way in when I can't see the other side. And that's something that I know God is working in me. But that's kind of all that I learned. I actually just did a object write on this drumstick here. It was pretty cool. I think probably one of the coolest lines was just like, I don't know if you can even see this really well. Can you? But like, you see these little dents. I don't know. It was just interesting to me. One of the lines that I wrote was, once it's scarred, it can never fully be repaired, even if it's sanded down. And another thing was, it is willing to be a slave to its master. That the drumstick was made with a specific purpose. It was made to literally hit metal. Like, wood plus metal is what in plastic is all that a drummer is, basically, or all that a drumstick can do. And let's see, was there anything else that was actually noteworthy? I guess something else is it also has like a balance point. Like let me see if I can. So there's a balance point on it, and there's also a balance point from a drumming standpoint to where it's optimal to be able to get use your fingers the maximum amount. And if you're out of balance, then you're actually working way harder than you need to. And I kind of felt like that was also very applicable to the surrender and just life in general, of like, if we're holding on to something at a wrong point, then we're just not at our optimal state. I don't know. It was just an interesting exercise. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been a little bit of a long video. Hope you have enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Thanks so much.